The stars glowed dimly against the vast black of space, silent and cold. Earth, once humanity's cradle, now hung below like a faded memory, clouded by dust storms, gray oceans, and broken ecosystems. Above the dying planet, suspended like a spear of glass and steel, floated Elysium Spire, Earth's central orbital command. Commander Alara Miles stood at the edge of the observation deck, arms crossed, her dark eyes fixed on a small dot in the distance. A faint shimmer pulsed in the void, barely visible to the naked eye, but every sensor on the spire had gone wild the moment it appeared. The object was enormous, nearly 2 kilometers long, a shape not seen in over 7 centuries. "It's the Ark," whispered a technician beside her. "It's really the Ark Titan." Alara didn't speak right away. Her throat tightened. The Ark Titan had launched 700 years ago, one of the last great efforts before Earth collapsed into environmental ruin. It was meant to carry 100,000 souls to a new star system, an experiment in long-term space travel, a generational ship. It had vanished. No signal, no wreckage, just silence. Until now. The command center behind her buzzed with restrained chaos. Officers and analysts moved quickly between screens, data pads, and holoprojections. Dozens of military ships stood on alert, forming a defensive perimeter around Earth. The Ark hadn't responded to any hails, and its signals were locked in unknown encryption. "Alara," came a voice behind her. Admiral Corrin stepped forward, his face weathered but firm. "We need your recommendation. You're the closest thing we have to an expert on the Ark project?" Alara turned to face him. She wore a simple black uniform with the silver eagle of Earth Command at her shoulder. Her face was calm, but her thoughts raced. "My great-grandmother was on that ship," she said quietly. "I've studied every file, every report. This shouldn't be possible." "What do you see?" Corrin asked. Alara walked toward the central display. A slow rotation of the Ark Titan hovered in the center. Its surface was alien now, metal fused with strange organic matter. Vines of dark alloy curled around its hull like veins. The name Titan was still faintly visible, etched along its side, but the rest was unrecognizable. "It's been changed," Alara said. "That's not the ship we launched." "But it is the ship," Corrin said grimly. "And it's back. We need to know why." The Council's orders were clear. If the Ark presented a threat, they would destroy it. But Alara wasn't so sure. There was something in its silence, something waiting. "I want to go aboard," she said. "You want to what?" Corrin stared. "I need to see what's inside. If anyone can understand what happened to them, it's me. I know the Ark's systems. I know the mission. I have family history on that ship. Let me take a team. We go in quietly. We come out with answers." Corrin hesitated. "You understand the risks? If it's hostile, then we're already in danger," she said. "But if we destroy it without knowing the truth, we could lose something greater than we've ever seen." The room fell silent. Finally, Corrin nodded. "You have clearance. Assemble your team. You launch at 0600. Later, alone in her quarters, Alara stared at an old photograph. 4 people in faded uniforms stood together on a steel launch ramp. The woman in front, smiling and bold, wore a name patch that read Captain A. Miles. Alara touched the image gently. "They made you a ghost," she whispered. "But you came back." She closed her eyes and breathed deeply. A part of her wanted to believe the Ark had returned in peace. But another part, the soldier in her, knew better. In space, silence was never empty. The shuttle Valkyrie hummed quietly as it detached from Elysium Spire. Its sleek hull reflected the starlight as it moved slowly toward the silent giant ahead, the Ark Titan. Commander Alara Miles sat in the front seat, strapped in beside the pilot. Behind her were 4 hand-picked crew members, each quiet and tense. The mood was heavy. No one cracked jokes. No one wasted words. They were heading into a ghost ship that hadn't been seen in over 700 years. The Ark grew larger in the viewing screen. Its hull was no longer the smooth, silver structure recorded in Earth's archives. Now it looked like something alive. The outer shell was dark and jagged, with strange tendrils of metallic growth spiraling along its surface like roots. Small pulses of blue light ran through the tendrils, like blood in veins. The pilot, Lieutenant Chen, checked the instruments. Still no response. Comms are silent. No movement on the outer hull. "Maintain approach," Alara said calmly. They reached the docking bay a few minutes later. The original hangar doors were still there, but they had been fused shut, melted, and reformed with alien alloy. The surface shimmered like oil on water. "We can't dock the standard way," Chen said. "That's okay. We came prepared." Alara turned to the engineer, Lieutenant Rayadorn. Rhea nodded and stepped forward. She used a cutting probe to scan for weak points in the hull. After a few tense moments, she located a narrow seam near an old maintenance hatch. It wasn't part of the original design. "This looks grown," Rhea muttered. "Like it was formed, not built." They began cutting through. The process took 20 minutes. The metal wasn't just strong, it resisted heat, force, even directed energy. But eventually, the hatch cracked open with a sharp hiss. The crew stepped inside, weapons drawn, helmets sealed. What greeted them was darkness, deep, unnatural darkness. Their suit lights flickered as they entered, and for a moment, static filled their comms. "Everyone stay close," Alara ordered. "Keep a perimeter." The corridor was narrow and curved, unlike the original Ark design. The walls were lined with black, vein-like cables that pulsed faintly with light. The air was cold and dry. No sound, no sign of life. They moved deeper into the ship. The floor shifted slightly beneath their boots, like walking on firm rubber instead of steel. "This isn't human architecture anymore," said Dr. Kellenvoss, their biologist and Xenotech expert. He ran a scanner along the wall. "It's organic metal composite. Nothing like this exists in our database." Alara kept walking. Her flashlight swept across the strange corridors, revealing fragments of the old Ark, rusted railings, half-buried signage, even a faded banner that read, "For the future of humanity." They reached a chamber that had once been a control room. Now it was something else. The chairs were fused to the floor, molded into strange thrones. Console screens were replaced with glowing blue nodes that hovered in midair. In the center stood a tall, still figure. Alara froze. "We have a contact." The figure stepped forward. It was human-shaped, but taller, at least 7 feet. Its skin was pale gray with faint glowing lines along its arms and neck. It wore a dark, armored suit that shifted like it was alive. Its eyes glowed a soft white. Then it spoke. "Welcome, descendants." The voice was calm, deep, and carried a strange echo. The crew raised their weapons, but Alara lifted a hand. "Who are you?" "I am Sovereign Virek," the figure replied. "Commander of the Ark Titan. Last guardian of its purpose." Alara's breath caught. Virek was first officer on the original Arkansas. You were human." "I was," he said. "But humanity is not a fixed state. We adapted. We evolved. The Ark survived because we changed." Dr. Voss whispered over the comms, "This isn't just cybernetic enhancement. This is full integration with an unknown system, maybe even alien." Alara stepped closer. "Why have you returned?" "To offer you a choice," Virek said. "The universe is not kind. We faced extinction beyond your stars. We survived by becoming more than human. Now, we offer the same to you." Behind Virek, more figures emerged from the shadows. Tall, silent, armored like statues. They did not speak. Their faces were covered with smooth metal masks. "They are the Ascendants," Virek explained. "The future of your kind." Alara felt the weight of his words. The air grew heavier. She didn't know what Virek truly was, but he wasn't lying. The Ark had changed, and something in it still remembered humanity. She stared into his glowing eyes. "What's the price?" she asked. Virek's reply was soft. "Everything you are." The silence hung thick inside the chamber. Sovereign Virek stood motionless, his pale eyes glowing faintly in the dim blue light. The Ascendants behind him didn't move, didn't blink, didn't breathe. They stood like statues made of metal and bone. Alara could feel the tension crawling up her spine. "We came for answers," she said carefully. "Not transformation. Tell me what happened to the Arkansas." Virek nodded once. "Very well. You deserve to know." He raised his hand, and the air shimmered. A holographic field unfolded around them. Dozens of floating images and data streams appeared. They showed the original Ark Titan, full of bright halls and smiling crew. Alara saw old uniforms, green plants, children laughing in artificial sunlight. Then the images darkened. A long journey through deep space. Malfunctions. Resource shortages. Panic. Then a signal, an alien signal. A machine planet. A dying race. A gift, alien technology, powerful but unfinished. "They called themselves the Alari," Virek said. "They were nearly extinct. They offered us a path forward. A way to survive the void." The holograms changed again. Scientists aboard the Ark integrating Alari biotech into the ship's systems. Genetic modification trials. Merging human minds with advanced artificial intelligence. Alara watched with growing unease. The crew slowly changed. Their eyes lost warmth. Their bodies became stronger, colder, no longer fully human. You used the crew as test subjects, she said quietly. We saved them, Virex said. Those who resisted died when the ship entered hostile territory. The ones who accepted the change endured. We survived 10 wars, a neutron storm, and a dark star that swallowed a colony fleet. He walked closer. Without the Alari systems, we would be dust in space. Alara stepped back. Her hand hovered near her weapon. You turned yourselves into machines. No. We turned ourselves into something better. Virex's voice remained calm. The body is flesh. The mind is fragile. But evolution is choice. You have the chance now to choose survival. One of Alara's team, Lieutenant Juno, a quiet tactical officer, spoke for the first time. And if we say no? Virex looked at him with no anger, only understanding. Then you will watch your world crumble. You are still small. Still soft. Earth is unprepared for what waits beyond its stars. Alara's jaw clenched. What exactly is coming? Virex turned back to the display. A new image appeared, an enormous fleet, alien and insect-like, swarming through the void. A planet reduced to ash. Massive space beasts feeding on debris. Signals warped by gravitational storms. They are called the Sindari Swarm, Virex said. They devour civilizations. We crossed paths with them once. Barely escaped. But they are coming your way now. The room fell silent again. The ascendants behind Virex remained perfectly still. Alara took a slow breath. She wanted to believe he was lying, exaggerating. But something in his voice told her it was the truth. The threat was real. But so was the cost of accepting his help. Dr. Kellen Voss stepped beside her. We need to analyze that data, he whispered. If the swarm is real, Earth might not stand a chance. We can't trust anything from him, Alara said. We need independent confirmation. They both looked at Virex. He tilted his head slightly, as if sensing their doubt. You are skeptical. Good. That's human. But remember this, what you call a future, we call the past. We have already lived through your nightmares. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. The floor vibrated. A voice came through the comms chin, still in the shuttle. Commander, we've got a problem. Earth fleet has moved into strike formation. They're preparing to open fire on the Arkansas. Alara turned sharply. They think we're compromised. I suggest, Virex said calmly, you return to your ship and deliver a message. Earth must choose. Join us, or face the coming war alone. Alara stared at him. We're not ready to make that choice, she said. You will be, Virex said. Soon. He lifted his hand. The walls behind him shifted and opened into a wide corridor, glowing with faint light. Your path back is open. For now. Alara nodded to her team. We're leaving. As they walked out, Alara glanced back. Virex and his soldiers remained still, watching, waiting, like guardians of a terrible future. Back aboard the Valkyrie, the crew was silent. The shuttle detached from the Ark and headed back toward Elysium Spire. Alara looked out the viewport one last time. The Ark Titan floated in the dark like a sleeping god. Silent. Immense. Watching. The Valkyrie docked with Elysium Spire under high alert. Armed guards waited at the landing bay. Council Command had already declared the Ark Titan a Level 1 threat. No communication, no trust. Only suspicion. The return team stepped out into a tense atmosphere. Commander Alara Miles removed her helmet. Her expression was calm, but her thoughts raced. She had seen the truth. The Ark crew had changed. And Earth was not ready for what was coming. Admiral Corrin met her in the debriefing room. He was flanked by 2 security officers and a stern-faced councilwoman. What did you find aboard the Ark? The Admiral asked without greeting. Survivors, Alara answered. But not as we expected. They're evolved. Integrated with alien tech. Their leader is a former human, Virex. He claims the Ark crew adapted to survive hostile alien threats. The councilwoman narrowed her eyes. And do you believe him? Alara hesitated. Yes, I do. Gasps and murmurs filled the room. Corrin's face tightened. You understand what you're saying, Commander? That you want us to trust a post-human AI hybrid claiming to be our savior? I'm saying they've seen what we haven't, Alara replied. They warned us about a hostile alien force called the Sindari Swarm. Virex says it's heading our way. Corrin crossed his arms. So we surrender our humanity to join their cause? No, Alara said. We prepare. On our terms. But if we wait too long, she paused. We may not have time left. Corrin ended the meeting without further debate. Alara was ordered to remain on standby while the council decided whether to destroy the Ark Titan. That night, Alara couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling of her quarters, mind churning. The images Virex had shown her, worlds consumed, fleets torn apart, Screams transmitted through deep space, played over and over again. She pulled out a small data drive from her jacket. It held a decrypted log from the Ark's early years. One file stood out. Captain A. Miles, Private Journal. She opened it. Her great-grandmother's voice, shaky and tired, came through the speaker. If this message is ever found, we were wrong to think we could control it. The Alari tech, it's changing us. We needed it to survive, but it doesn't just enhance, it rewrites. The ship is alive now. It listens. It chooses. Some of us are still human. Some of us aren't anymore. If we ever return to Earth, make sure we're still ourselves. If not, stop us. Alara stared at the recorder for a long time. Her chest tightened. Virek hadn't told the full truth. He said they chose to evolve. But her great-grandmother's voice told a different story. The next morning, chaos broke out. A message from Arc Titan interrupted Earth's communication grid. It wasn't a voice. It was a series of encoded warnings, strange frequencies, and data packets. Earth's defense AI flagged it as a potential cyber attack. Council Command panicked. Admiral Corrin called for immediate military action. Warships armed their plasma batteries. Fighters took formation. The Ark was to be destroyed. Alara rushed to the command floor. "You can't do this," she yelled. "We don't know what that signal meant. It could be a warning, not a weapon." "It doesn't matter," Corrin said. "The Ark is a threat. We strike now, before it strikes us." "I can stop it," she insisted. "There's a core system buried deep in the Arkansas. My family's access codes may still work. I can shut down its defenses, or at least talk to Virek. Give me one chance." Corrin hesitated. The room waited. "You have 1 hour," he said. Then we opened fire. Alara took a stealth pod back to the Ark alone. As she entered through the same maintenance passage, the ship seemed to shift. It recognized her. Lights followed her steps. The strange walls pulsed faster. She found herself guided, not by a map, but by something else. The ship wanted her to go deeper. Finally, she reached the heart of the Ark, a massive chamber with a glowing sphere at its center. This was the AI Nexus, part human, part Alari, part something else. And Virek was there, waiting. "You came," he said. "I heard the truth," Alara replied. "From my great-grandmother. You didn't choose this. It consumed you." Virek nodded slowly. "It began as survival. Then it became purpose. The line between man and machine blurred. I was not strong enough to stop it." "Then help me shut it down," Alara said. "Before Earth destroys you, or worse, before you destroy Earth." He walked toward the core. "It will not be easy. The AI defends itself. It sees threats in emotion, in fear, in love. You must speak to it in code it trusts." Alara pulled out her family's drive. "Then let's speak." She connected the drive. The core reacted instantly, lights flared, alarms echoed, and the chamber shook. Memories, images, sounds, Alara felt her mind touched by something enormous. The AI saw her, knew her. It asked one question in her mind. "Are you like them?" She answered with her thoughts. "No. I remember who I am." The lights dimmed. The shaking stopped. The Ark powered down. Alara stood back, breathing hard. Virek lowered his head. "You did what I could not." "I didn't win," Alara said. "I just stopped the bleeding." From her comms, Chin's voice broke through. "Commander, Earth fleet has called off the strike. They saw the power drop. They're standing down." Alara looked up at the still, quiet chamber. For now, peace held. But war was still coming. The Ark Titan drifted in silence, its lights dimmed, its weapons powered down. From orbit, it looked like a dark moon, a sleeping relic. Inside its core, Commander Alara Miles stood beside Sovereign Virek, watching the glowing sphere at the heart of the ship slowly lose its pulse. The alien AI had accepted her code. It had recognized her bloodline, her voice, her mind. The ship was no longer listening to Virek. It was listening to her. Virek's face was calm, but his body seemed different, slower, less fluid. Without the AI driving his movements, his enhancements were losing precision. His voice was softer now, less echoing. "You've taken command," he said. "The Ark is yours." "I don't want control," Alara said. "I want peace." Virek looked around the chamber, the empty thrones, the silent halls. "Peace is a pause between wars." She met his eyes. "Then I'll make the most of it." Suddenly, alarms blared. The ceiling lit up with red pulses. Warning symbols flashed across the walls. The ship trembled again, but not from the core. This time it came from the outside. Alara opened her comms. "Valkyrie, report." Lieutenant Chin's voice came through, tight and urgent. "Commander, Earth's outer fleet is under attack. Multiple unknown contacts. They just jumped in. No warning. It's not the Arkansas. They're alien. And they're heading straight for Earth. Alara's chest tightened. The Sindari? We don't know what to call them, but they're not friendly. We've already lost 2 cruisers. The threat Virek spoke of, it was real. Alara turned to him. This is what you were preparing for? Virek nodded slowly. They follow old paths, searching for energy, life, tech. They see us as food. Then help me fight them, she said. Not as a sovereign. As a soldier. Virek hesitated. His eyes flickered. I have no command anymore. You have knowledge, Alara said. You still have a choice. He stared at her a long moment, then gave a short nod. Then let us show them what gods of war look like. Alara ran to the command bridge. The hall shifted as she moved, the ship guiding her like it remembered her presence. The control panels now responded to her touch. Screens blinked on. Engines hummed. Defense turrets rotated into position. Outside, the alien ships emerged from hyperspace like blades through fabric. Insect-like, bristling with spikes and tentacles, they moved in swarms. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. Earth's fleet engaged first. Lasers and plasma bursts lit the black sky. But the enemy was fast, too fast. Their armor deflected Earth's weapons. One of the outer defense satellites exploded in a silent bloom of fire. Arc Titan is powering up, Jin reported. Is that you? Yes, Alara said. We're joining the fight. She activated the Ark's weapon systems, not just guns, but energy lances and gravitational disruptors designed from Alari tech. The ship groaned, as if waking from a long sleep. Virek appeared beside her, flanked by 3 silent ascendants. They looked weaker now, flickering, like their connection to the ship had been cut, but they still moved with purpose. Alara gave the command. Fire. The Ark's weapons lit up. Massive energy beams tore through the black, slicing through the alien swarm. One enemy ship shattered in a single blast. Another was pulled into a gravity trap and crushed like paper. But there were too many. The aliens responded. They swarmed the Ark, covering its surface like ants. Some began drilling. Others fired acidic bursts that melted sections of the hull. Boarding parties, Virek warned. We'll hold them off. You focus on the core. Alara nodded. Buy me time. Virek and the Ascendants vanished into the ship, heading to intercept. Alara raced back to the AI nexus. The core was flickering. She knew it wasn't designed for her. She was a temporary key, not a true controller. If she couldn't stabilize it, the Ark would shut down again. She placed her hand on the interface. I need more time, she whispered. The ship pulsed. Another voice answered, not Virek's, not hers. It was the Alari AI. Cold, ancient, calculating. You are not sufficient. I'm not trying to become you, she said. I'm trying to stop a war. The AI paused. Then, purpose accepted. The ship surged with new energy. Alara felt it awaken fully, as if it had finally decided she was worth listening to. Power rippled through the corridors. Weapons fired faster. Shields grew stronger. Above, Earth's remaining ships regrouped, protected by the Ark's massive frame. The aliens began to fall back. One final wave charged toward the Ark, desperate and wild. Alara focused every weapon system and gave one last order. End it. The blast tore through the heart of the swarm. The sky turned white, then black again. Silence. The enemy was gone. Alara slumped to her knees, exhausted. Her comm crackled. Commander, Jin said. They're retreating. Earth is secure. She closed her eyes. Virek's voice came through, faint. Now, you see why we became what we are. She opened the channel. Where are you? But there was no reply. Later, they found him in one of the corridors, surrounded by fallen ascendants. His body was still, his armor cracked. He had held the line. The Arc Titan returned to silent orbit. Alara ordered it into standby mode, locking its systems with her genetic signature. No one would control it again, not without understanding the cost. The Arc Titan hung in low orbit above Earth like a broken sentinel. Its hull still glowed faintly, scarred by battle, wrapped in the strange metal that had once made it seem alive. For the first time in centuries, the ship was quiet, not dead, but resting. Inside the core chamber, Commander Alara Miles stood alone. The lights were dim. The Alari AI, once an all-seeing force, no longer spoke. The chamber felt empty without Virek, without the quiet hum of the Ascendants, without the pulsing energy of war. She placed her hand on the central control panel. It lit up softly beneath her fingers. Her access was still accepted. The ship remembered her. A voice came through her earpiece, Admiral Corrin. Status, Commander? She answered calmly. The Ark is in full lockdown. Manual override is sealed. Her access is tied to my G-print only. Understood. We're sending a recovery team. No, she said. Not yet. A pause. Then, why? Alara looked around the chamber. She thought of everything she had seen, the horrors, the power, the sacrifice. She thought of Virek's last words. Now you see why we became what we are. We're not ready for this, she said. If we try to use the Ark now, we'll become exactly what we feared. Corin didn't argue. Understood. What do you recommend? Leave it here. Isolate it. Study it slowly. Carefully. No control. No weapons. Just knowledge. And only when we're ready. Another pause. Then Corin's voice softened. Copy that. And Alara. Yes. Thank you. You saved us all. Alara returned to Elysium Spire later that day. As her shuttle docked, hundreds of officers and technicians stood waiting. She stepped out, tired, worn, but standing tall. The hallway was quiet. No cheers. No applause. Just respect. She nodded to them once, then kept walking. In the days that followed, the Council declared the Ark Titan a secure legacy asset. Access was restricted to the highest levels. Surveillance satellites monitored its orbit. Drones circled it like watchful hawks. Alara wrote a classified report, the Ark Files, a detailed account of what happened aboard the ship. She included her great-grandmother's journals, the Alari technology, Virek's warnings, and the data on the Sindari swarm. She titled the last page, What It Means to Be Human. Weeks later, Alara stood at the edge of a small Earth habitat on the moon. She wore civilian clothes now, her rank insignia removed, her weapon holstered and sealed away. The stars above were the same, but she had changed. She sat on a rock, alone with her thoughts. A small device played her great-grandmother's final log again. The voice was old and cracked, but still strong. If you ever hear this, don't forget who we were. Don't forget what we became. And if you ever face the choice between survival and self, choose to remember. Alara looked up at the stars. Virek had chosen survival. She had chosen memory. And that, she hoped, was the line that would keep them human. For now, the galaxy was quiet again. But it wouldn't be for long. And next time, humanity would be ready on its own terms.